Hi everyone, Kuya Vic here. So someone sent me this video. Of course, I've been following President Dunkley for some time, but I haven't been really consuming much of his content. Some particular elder sent this to me and asked for my reaction. I already gave my reaction, but why not record and share another reaction? Hmm. So, um, join me as I re-react accordingly this um, message by President Dunkley.
What are you creating? Who is it for? And why?
Okay, maybe just for some context. I don't know what kind of context. What are you creating? Who is it for and why? This is probably a video for, well, I don't think it's really targeted for young people, but it's just for just people in general, I would say, that like trying to find your purpose, right? So let's try to find out more.
Pablo Picasso is widely quoted as having said, "Good artists borrow, great artists steal."
I like how there's like the sound effect boom when he said steal. Okay, of course, stealing is not good, but let's try to hear out more the explanation.
So, what does this mean? It means even the world's best artists are continually borrowing ideas from other artists that inspire them, that influence them across all mediums.
Okay, so I'm not really like an artsy guy, but yeah, I would say a lot of art are pretty much the same. I guess it just depends on what type of art you are doing. But shout out to all artists there. I know it's also difficult to find inspiration, but I think what he's really saying is that for us to create, is that we need certain inspiration, and sometimes it would come from other people as well. Okay.
And those who do it best are those who steal the ideas instead of just mimicking them. It's kind of a tongue in cheek way of exposing the world of art to people who think they don't really know how artists create all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, this means that the act of creativity for human beings starts with inspiration from other things that have already been created by others.
So like what I was saying, in order for you to find inspirations, because you found it some place because it was already made or it was already created. Okay.
This is true even for the professional. Actually, very much so.
I feel like stealing is like a strong word, but you know, um, maybe you're not stealing in a bad way. You're, it's like getting that inspiration and then trying to make it better. There's probably a better word to use instead of steal. I don't know. I can't think of anything at the top of my head right now. Other words. Other words for steal. Thief. Take for oneself. Help oneself. Loot. Shoplift. Okay, a lot of these things are pretty much negative. Hmm. Anyway, let's more listen to his point.
But when we talk about life, creativity is not limited just to the music that you hear or the art that is on the wall. In fact, almost everything we do would require our creativity. So, this message is about creativity.
Mm.
What are you creating? Who is it for? And why?
Mm. Okay, that was the title of the message, right? Okay, let's listen to more. Sorry if I keep pausing. My first time doing a reaction video.
First of all, if we want to learn from what Pablo is saying, then we should learn from the best. We should not
Mhm.
only borrow from the best, we should steal from the best. The
Okay.
best creator of all. Who's that? It's God, our heavenly
Yes.
parent.
Mhm.
So just stop for a moment and think. The entire created world, the entire created universe was created as a result of a creative process.
Mhm.
Everything that exists in nature came about as a result of a specific creative process.
Mhm.
So we can borrow the ideas from what was manifested, but we can also study the process that God went through to actually create it.
Okay, so this time he said study. So that's probably a better word than using steal. But I know, President Dunkley is just trying to make a point, right? So, for us to bring out the inner creative within us, we should study everything that has been created by God for us.
How did God create?
Mhm.
This is the question.
Mhm.
Well, I'm gonna, I'm gonna listen to what Father said about this. He said, in order to create all things, God had to pour out his very essence.
Mhm.
That is, he invested a great deal of energy.
Okay.
This could have depleted his energy and
Mhm.
resulted in God suffering a loss.
Mm.
Yet, he created the world with love to be his object partner. And he devoted himself to fulfilling this purpose.
Okay, devotion is also a very strong word because when you love something, you would devote all your heart, all your mind into it. And like he said, like you pour out everything because of love in order for God to have an object partner, right? Okay, just trying to repeat and break it down for you guys.
Okay,
Maybe I should
so there's
just
3
let
lessons
the
that we
video
can
play.
learn from this
Okay, three
text.
lessons.
Pay
So
attention, write it down.
write it down.
Number 1, God had a purpose.
Okay, there's a
God had
purpose.
a vision
Okay, is that one and two?
that was rooted in love for the sake of others.
Okay, purpose rooted in love for the sake of others. Purpose and vision.
God had a purpose and a vision that was rooted in love. God did it for love. Father said that he didn't run out of energy because he did it for love.
Okay, purpose and
And that
vision.
love was for you and for me. Number 2, God invested all of his energy, his entire essence. But
Invest his energy.
he didn't run out of energy because the purpose was love. So these two things
Purpose was
create
love.
perpetual motion, never ending. The third point was God devoted himself to fulfilling this purpose. That means God is committed.
Devoted to fulfill
So,
this
first of all, the
purpose.
purpose is love. Secondly, he invested everything. And third, he's totally committed, no matter what.
Okay, committed or devoted?
So let's look first at these first 2 points of purpose of love and total investment of energy. Father also said that in the world of physics,
The world of physics.
the input is greater than the output. But in the world of love, the input is less than the output. Do you understand? So usually when things
Um, th- sorry if I'm pausing again. Uh, mm, I don't know. I have a trouble expressing love, so probably intellectually I could understand it, but artistically it's quite difficult, I would say.
Things are consumed, they are depleted. They are depleted. But in the case of creating the universe, even though things are being continually consumed, things are being continually created at a greater rate than things are depleting. How is this possible? It's because the purpose is love. The energy that is driving the never ending,
Purpose is love.
always expanding universe is love.
Because love
The
is
energy
expanding.
is love.
Energy
Because
is
the
love.
purpose is love.
Mm-hmm.
God was not doing any of this for himself. From the beginning, God has been creating for the purpose of love. To make you happy. To make us happy. And to experience the joy, not just by ourselves, but together with each other and together with God. That is the purpose of creation. So how are we doing?
How are we doing, guys?
I think we can be honest about the fact that something went wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But God didn't give up. God did not give up. And that is because of point 3, total commitment. God is devoted to his creation process, and God will not stop until his vision and purpose comes about. Until it is completed, God will never give up. Okay, so if this is true, how can we apply these 3 lessons to our lives?
Okay, listen up.
Well, first it's worth noting that 3 things can go wrong.
Okay, another
3
3
things
things.
can go wrong in your creative process.
Okay, 3 things.
First of all, the wrong purpose. You might have the wrong purpose. Your purpose might not be clear enough, or it might not be rooted enough in really bringing benefit to others. If your vision, if your purpose for doing anything at all is rooted in bringing some positive benefit to others, then your purpose is going in the right direction. Number 2, the next thing that could go wrong is you don't give it enough energy. You don't invest enough of yourself. You don't invest your total essence into the thing that you're doing.
Give enough energy.
And usually this can be because you're doing it for the wrong purpose, because these first 2 things really go together. So it's likely that you will run out of energy unless the purpose for which you're doing it is really rooted in something bigger than yourself, something that is positive for the sake of others. The third thing that can go wrong is simply that you give up. And frankly, the reason you may give up is because either one of the first 2 things is not going right. Or something successfully stops you. Something or someone stops you from the outside and forces you to give up. So I want to tell you a short story of my youth. When I was a teenager, I was in a school band. I didn't know how to play the guitar, but I wanted to be in the band with my buddies. So I learned how to play the guitar. The beginning of summer, I bought a guitar. Thank you, Dad, bought me a guitar and a small amp. And I practiced every day. And my purpose was just to be good enough to join the band. And so the band let me in at the end of summer when we got back to school. And we used to write music together. And we were invited to play for the school, for the students at the school events and school parties. And so I used to play, and we used to write songs together, and we used to perform on stage, playing the guitar and singing with energy. We used to invest a lot of energy.
Sana all talented.
And even in the summer, when my father moved my family to Italy, I used to bring the band to Italy, and we used to go on tour. We used to play at clubs and restaurants and village festivals.
Sorry, President Dunkley. I don't know if you're gonna watch this. I'm just curious. You said when you were in high school? Like, what's the legal age to play for clubs and pubs and festivals when you're in a high school band? I don't know. It just suddenly struck my mind. Sorry, guys.
We used to get ourselves on the radio, interviewed on the radio.
How I wish we could dig up that interview. I'm curious. And President Dunkley, if you are watching this, I just noticed that I googled or I searched your name wrongly. Sorry, DAM. But would love to hear those songs if you still have those songs. I'm genuinely curious what kind of songs were they. Hmm. I don't know if the others are curious as well. But anyway,
Before the performances, we used to tour around central Italy and,
okay, that's cool.
we had a lot of fun.
Sounds fun.
But as I grew up, looking back on those years, I reflected on my motivation. What was my real purpose for doing all of that in the first place? It was to have fun. It was to have, good times with my brothers.
Mm-hmm.
But also there was a part of it that was about kind of being cool, looking and sounding cool on stage. And perhaps that motivation was a little bit bigger than my motivation to make others happy. I reflected on this in later years. Did I really want to bring joy to others? I think I remember wanting to make my dad proud. That's good. But ultimately it was kind of maybe more about wanting to be loved than really loving.
Okay, I guess that's the one of the important points here about about the title of the video. What are you creating? Who is it for and why? Is it for you to receive love or is it for you to give love? And probably that's something that you need to ask yourself when you want to create. Okay, when you want to create something. Anyway, moving on. I don't know how to elaborate that more. Maybe try to give it some thought.
And I can be honest that that may have been one of the reasons that I gave up. I gave up that dream. And as an adult, I reflected that maybe my motivation should have been more rooted in really bringing joy to others more than anything else. And perhaps then I would have had limitless energy to invest in that creative process. There's other times in our lives when we may find ourselves bored, not particularly invested in anything, perhaps feeling depressed and feeling without purpose. Well, if we feel without purpose, it's probably because we are not exercising our creativity.
Fair point. Fair point. We are feeling depressed. We don't have purpose. We cannot practice our creativity. I don't know. I don't know how to elaborate this. I should have written this down. Sorry. But anyway, okay. Moving on.
The way God exercises God's creativity. We're either not doing it for the right reason, or we're not investing enough energy, or we're giving up because either of those two things are wrong, or allowing other people to stop us. But God never gave up. God invested everything, and God did it for an eternal reason that He never will give up on. We were born for this. We were born with that same nature. We were born with that same nature. So we should be creative, and we should root our creativity in a purpose that's bigger than ourselves, that brings joy to others. We should invest ourselves totally, and we should never give up. Never give up. What about working with others? What about working in groups? What about trying to lead others to be creative?
Okay, that's the tricky part.
Now we're talking about multiple dynamics, not just
True.
you with your art brush in your art studio. But how are you going to bring about a creative process when you're working with others or when you're leading others? Well, first of all, I want to say, don't suppress other people's creativity. Foster their creativity. Encourage others to find their creative voice, to find their creative passions, and invest themselves for good reasons. When we're working in a group, we must have a common objective. We have to first set that vision and purpose that is beneficial to all and beneficial to something that's even greater than the group itself. So I should have had a meeting with my band members and I should have said, guys, why are we doing this? Sure, we want to be cool. Sure, we want to have fun. But is there a bigger reason than just our individual purpose? Is there a bigger reason than even our group's purpose? What is it that this group is living for? What is this band living for? We should have thought, we want to bring joy to our audience. We just want to make them happy. We want to make them inspired. We want them to go home after the concert and not just feel like that was fun and inspiring, but in some way improve their lives. So the beat should connect to that. The chords should connect to that. The way we move our bodies should connect to that. The lyrics should connect to that. The lighting, the sound, the image, everything should connect to that purpose. And after every song, after every concert, we should evaluate our success in achieving that goal, which is greater than any one of our individual ideas.
Okay. Um, I suddenly had this thought that um, we, as an organization, movement, or a church, okay, basically our product. Okay, so President Dunkley was talking about the band, but for our movement, what we would normally do is we would have large gatherings, seminars, or workshops, or Sunday service. Now, for example, we do a 4th day workshop and we invest all our time, all our effort, all our energy into that workshop. Um, and then let's say you who's listening to this right now is a participant. Yeah, you felt all the inspiration. Yeah, you probably want to do something for the providence, all this stuff because you received the inspiration because basically divine principle lectures and seminars are meant to do that. It's supposed to give you purpose, but at the end of the day, for me personally, what's really frustrating is that when you go back to your environment, which is not the same as the workshop or the gathering that you just came from or the Sunday service that you just came from, because ideals and reality are 100% different. Okay, so I guess that would be what's very challenging. I don't know, maybe I'm still in the wrong here. I don't know. Let's say, for example, we've done so many workshops throughout the years, and of course, you would see a lot of BCs who are inspired, but later on, they come up to me and they say, "Ah, Kuya Vic, we were inspired by your lecture, this and that and that." Of course, it's very nice. Okay, thank you for all those people who ever said that. I love you too. However, as a person that gave you this inspiration, as a person that is trying to, you know, do these things for you, if we do not see you, for me personally, if I cannot see that you are trying to improve your lives and within these roadblocks, I guess just people in general, like, it's really frustrating because you already mentioned like working in a groups, you know, um, it's just sad to see that, we can like seeing you deviate from your purpose or deviate from what you can potentially do. Am I making sense? So for me, that gets really tiring also, you know, because my purpose is to somehow help you find your purpose to the lectures, but throughout the year or throughout the years when we see you, probably no improvement, no change, and of course everyone is going through different challenges in their lives. But if there are no changes, that's kind of like very very frustrating and kind of like lose my purpose because if I believe that my purpose is to inspire you, but if you're not feeling inspired, if you're not feeling your purpose, then what is my purpose? Am I making sense? I'm only human being. I'm only a human being after all. It became a rant, but you know, this is just like my thoughts as of now after listening to this. Anyway, let's listen to more. Sorry if you're hearing someone in the background.
It's the same for your small group. It's the same for leading your community. It's the same for your family.
So it's now talking about small
Same
groups
for
or
your nation.
community or even the family. No, oh, nation. Now
What's the
nation.
purpose of your nation? What's the purpose of your community? What's the
Mm.
purpose of your band? What's the purpose of your business? What's the purpose of your family's existence? First of all, everyone in your group has a unique contribution, a unique creative voice that they must be allowed to make.
Okay, here comes the creative voice. Um, this is probably, I don't know if this is the right thing to say or like a rant. Okay, we are trying to bring out the creative voice of people. However, it's not as easy as it seems inside our church or inside our movement because we don't have the right resources, we don't have like the right people or the right types of things in order to bring out your creativeness. And I feel like that's really, really frustrating. It's like everything that the church is trying to like push to us is that you try to go fundraising, you try to do lecturing, you try to do tongamudo, which is not necessarily like a bad thing. But how about all these other things that brings out certain creativity in other people? Could be like drawing, could be like music, could be like video editing. In this world now, video editing is very important, I believe. And even like writing stories is an important like creativity skill that someone should develop in this time now. So I don't like dancing also is a form of storytelling, I believe. Mm. So guess that's what's really challenging in our movement. I understand where President Dunkley is coming from. Like we need to find that creativity. However, there's no way to support this type of creative things. You know. Anyway, am I making sense? Please tell me
If
if
you
I'm making sense
suppress
or
that as a leader, you're just simply shooting yourself in the foot. Because everyone in
suppress.
your family, everyone in your community was made not by you, but by God, and has God's nature that is just like God. Wants to do something, wants to create for a great purpose, wants to invest energy into it, and wants to commit themselves wholeheartedly without giving up. So don't suppress others, and don't think that your idea as a leader or as an influencer is enough. Your idea is not enough. If your band, if your family just completely unites with what your idea is, it will not be enough. It must include the creativity of others. Chonilguk, the kingdom of heaven, must include your creative contribution. Every single Chonilguk citizen, every single citizen of Chonilguk must, by definition, bring their individual creative beauty and contribution. Otherwise, it's not Chonilguk. True parents' eldest son, Hyojinim, understood this very well. He created with total energy for the sake of Heavenly Parent and True Parents, and he never gave up. He understood that creativity required certain things to look different as we go towards the common objective. Listen to this. He said, let's say that three of us are assigned to create something about Father's life. One person might have a talent in music, one might be an excellent poet, and another might be a great graphic designer. Whatever it might be, they may differ slightly in the way they manifest their creativity. So, if I give that theme to these three people who differ in their talents, the results will be different. He gave the example of himself. He said, I may praise my love and devotion and respect to true parents with my music. And that will be completely different from someone who expresses it through illustration.
Like what I'm saying earlier, like there are certain fields that we need to improve in order for us to bring out this creativity. Now, well, the video is almost ending. I just want to say this point before I forget. Now, he mentioned our elder brother Hyojinim. He invested his, he had a purpose. He wanted to create music. He invested all of his energy. He was able to write 10,000 songs. Where are these 10,000 songs? I would like to have a look at those. So far, we only have like few of those songs that are like published. And then he devoted his time and effort into it. Okay. However, I'm not a fan. Me personally, I'm not a fan of being someone who devotes your entire being into something when it would have very very negative repercussions for you. Because after, like for our elder brother Hyojinim, may his body rest, but his soul is pretty much alive. I'm sure that he invested so much of his time writing 10,000 songs, which led him to have a heart attack and die at, I would say, probably still a young age, and leaving his wife widowed and his children fatherless. Of course, being devoted is a wonderful thing to see, but with the negative side effects of that having on your family, on your health, I feel like there should be a line that needs to be drawn when it comes to types of these things. Now, this might be an unfair comparison to, let's say, for example, since we are on YouTube, I'm sure a lot of you knows the YouTuber Mr. Beast. So he had a purpose. He wanted to become a YouTuber, right? And he invested all of his energy because I don't know if he loved YouTube, but for him, like if we watch a lot of his interviews here on YouTube, he it was very clear for him like day one, because he studied the analytics, all these other things. If we watch his very early videos on YouTube, they all kind of suck and they're all kind of weird. And then now he's like considered a genius because now he was able to garner all of the subscribers and become one of the top YouTubers around the world. So this is like another type of purpose, vision from love. Probably he loves YouTube too much because that's all the thing that he talks about. The same with true parents, they love God, so that's why all they talk about is God. And he invested this energy into creating all of these um other um sorry if I'm sorry, all of these other videos, all of his other businesses, and he invested time and effort into that. So that's why he has Beast Burger, his T-shirt, his Beast Philanthropy, what else? His Feastable chocolates and all of these things. Now he created all of that in his small room, and then he expanded, 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 expanded. Now for elder brother Hyojinim, he was, I would say, he was somewhat fortunate enough to have like a recording studio to write and record his songs. Now the majority of us, we do not have those privilege or luxuries. So that is why I think, going back to point number one, you really need to understand your purpose. And for that, I'm still guilty of this. I would say that when you know your purpose, it doesn't matter what kind of environment you have. And if you have that clear goal that you want to achieve something, you would do it no matter what. Because President Dunkley did say that it is in all of us the attitude of not giving up. Okay? So Mr. Beast started in his room and now he owns big facilities, right? So for you as a person, as a creative person, it's very important for you to find that purpose. Me, I'm turning 30. For me, I still do not know what is my purpose, in all honesty. Um, I'm just experimenting now, making a reaction video based on the sermon of President Dunkley right now. Probably, I enjoy watching content, but I don't believe that this is my purpose in life. But at least, I think what's important is that you start doing something instead of, trying to be creative, instead of just being depressed or saying, oh, I don't know what I want to do. So you need to figure things out as you go. Okay, so let's get to the end of this video anyway. Let's go.
So people don't lose their variety in or their uniqueness. Shojinim understood there may be many ways to manifest. There are many ways to manifest creativity and beauty. The expression of your creativity, the expression of your beauty
Mm,
will be unique.
mm, You don't have to be the same as others. That's why you try to steal from others and make
But
it better.
the common objective is
Okay?
for a greater good.
Okay, for a greater
So,
good.
guys, if we want to be creative, and we have to be creative because we were born of a heavenly parent who themselves is creative. If you're bored, if you're depressed, if you're tired, if you're lonely, if you're lost and confused, it may be because you don't realize you are a creative machine. You were born to be creative.
What?
You were born to create the way you make your.
Did you just said you were born to be Korean? Sorry.
You don't realize you are a creative machine. You were born to be creative.
Correct me if I'm wrong. It's like you said you were born to be Korean. Sorry, President Dunkley.
You were born to create the way you make your food, the way you communicate, the way you clean your house, the way you design your room, the way you put on your clothes in the morning. Everything is an act of creation.
But that's too
And
much
we
to
should
think. Like,
trust
okay, I'm
one another. We should
trusting to
expect
create.
great creative things from one another. Not just following along like robots. Be very careful what you understand about absolute obedience. If you want to be absolute obedient to the principle. But understand that the method, the manifestation, the way it is done is completely and entirely your freedom and responsibility. Do you understand? So, if we're going to create, let us not just borrow from the best, let us steal from the best. 3 powerful life hacks to boost your creativity. Number 1,
Boost your creativity.
make sure that your creation has great purpose.
Make
Rooted
sure
in a
your
vision that will
creation
bring
has
joy to others
purpose.
in some way. 2, invest your total energy. And 3, never give up. Never give up. So, guys, here's the exercise. Answer this question. What are you creating? Who is it for? And why? Have a great day. Have a great week.
So, just my final thoughts. This is an inspirational message for anyone who is listening, because we are all meant to be creative. However, if we try to rely too much on other people in order for us to attain this creativeness, like I said, our movement, our church do not have the facilities or the equipment for whatever you want to create. They're not gonna support us in any way. This is just like one of the big drawbacks. I don't think they can. That is why it is important that you, as an individual, try to create something substantial on your own. However, don't don't try to think that you are on this journey alone. I think one thing that we need to improve personally is that how we try to include others into this creative process. Now, let's say, for example, going back to Mr. Beast, he, a lot of people thought of him as a crazy person. You know, what are you doing? Why are you doing all these videos? And then now that he's successful, a lot of people are trying to copy or steal what he's doing. Right? Am I making sense? So for you, for us as individuals, it's important for us to start somewhere. And then as the process goes along the way, you meet people that can help you, people that can work with you. And I'm not saying that you should just work or be with people that are just in the church. You need to make your connections also with people who are not church members, because sometimes these are people that could eventually help you. Am I making sense? So that's why you need to understand what is your purpose. And that's kind of like ironic coming from a person like me that does not know my purpose, in all honesty. But anyway, I'm just trying to be more creative. You know, like I said, this is also like a form of creation because I'm stealing from President Dunkley, just elaborating it and adding my thoughts. It's kind of like semi-lazy, but anyway. So, my dear brothers and sisters, um, if you're feeling depressed, if you're feeling you do not have purpose, try to create, and sometimes there's no way of finding this creativity or creativeness inside you sometimes because you are depressed and all that stuff. But like I said, try to steal from others, grab inspiration, and then act on it. I think that's what's important. You try to act on it no matter what. Take that action, because without action it's just a thought. You need to put it into action. So like I said, something similar to what I'm doing right now. Of course, we don't have the equipment, but anyway, um, start somewhere. Okay, so I'll probably try to create more reaction videos, and let me know what you guys think. I'll see you next time. Bye.